me. So he said, so when Rasulullah called Sayyidina Ali, said, "Oh Ali, yani why? Sayyidina Umar is complaining you don't like to greet him. And part of our practice is to greet. Yani, why don't you greet Sayyidina Umar?" He said, "Ya Rasulullah, I also learned from you, Ya Rasulullah. The one who greets first, Allah builds him a palace in Jannah. And I don't want it for myself, I want it for Umar." Uh-huh. That's the love the Sahaba had for Sayyidina Muhammad. The love they had for each other. So when he says, when I greet, I do greet, but I greet soft so that I can give him the impression that he's greeting me first. Because I want him to be included in those people that will get the palace in Jannah for greeting first. So the salam is very important. As-salam bima'na, what? Peace. Huh? Peace. Yani. As-salam bima'na, peace. Yani. In English, it's called peace. But peace from what? Peace from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The companions of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they were hungry to receive salam from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I'm not here to share a lot of words, but the salam we share with each other is not only safety for us, but safety for the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You give salam when you make salah as well. Habib Ali Mashhur, rahmatullah, may Allah elevate him and grant him my place in Jannah. He says, one of the reasons for salam in salah, one of the reasons for salam, when you make salah, what do you say? When you finish salah, what do you say? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is what the reason for salam. One of the fiqhi reason for salam in salah is to conclude salah. But there is a batini meaning for it also. An inward meaning for salam. Because we have angels on our right, isn't it? And we have angels on our left. And our angel is not restricted to yours only. But we have angels on our right. And we have angels on our left. And therefore, when you greet with salam after salah, you're greeting every angel that is standing on your right hand side of the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And every angel, wherever they may be, on the left hand side of you. And that's greeting of salams. And therefore, they say, some of the scholars say, you're actually doing an injustice to the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you're doing an injustice to yourself if you don't make salah, because the salah requires salam, and if you don't make salam daily, you are depriving the angels and those that you are not able to see with your salam. May Allah increase us in salam, inshallah. May Allah grant us salam in this world and salam in the year after. The entrance of Jannah, the first words of Allah to you is what? Salamun qawlan min Rabbir Rahim. Oh, salamun, as Shaykh mentioned, tibatum. Allah first gives salam. Salam. The malaika give salam. They say, Allah is happy with you. Peace be upon you. MashaAllah. Tibtum, you've done well. You've done well in your quest towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah increase us in salam outwardly and inwardly, inshallah. And may Allah grant salam to the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah grant peace and victory to the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We are very honored. MashaAllah. The cameraman said I must stand here, but now I'm facing my back to our sister. Don't blame me, it's the cameraman. You fight with him afterwards. Okay, not the cameraman, the sound man. The cameraman is looking at me saying, no, not me, not me. We are very honored, mashallah, to have our honorable Sheikh, our Ustad. May Allah increase in Ustad, inshallah. May Allah grant our Ustad a long life, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant Sheikh Shaheed a life that we will be continue benefiting him from for many more years, inshallah. Amen. And again, there's zahir ma'ani, there's outward meanings of benefiting from someone, and there's batin ma'ani as well. There's inward benefits of benefiting from someone that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has gifted with knowledge. You benefit with him, you benefit from him when he speaks, and you benefit from him even more, even when he don't speak. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy always descends upon those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with and happy with, and that serve the deen of Allah. And may Allah increase in our Mawlana and our Shaykh, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him that he be here with us for many more years. Ameen Rabbil Alameen. That this community and more of the community of Junubi Africa, of South Africa and the rest of the world continue benefiting from him, inshallah. Ameen. We have, mashallah, a delegation from Palestine and Salam Media as well that is here. Abir Ahmad Zayyad, our esteemed guest, alhamdulillah, and her sister, an archaeologist, an historian, and more than important, more than that, yani, they have the Dam of Palestine. Yani. That's more important than being an archaeologist and a historian. Allah has blessed him with being the blood of Palestine, alhamdulillah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted that the ruh be Palestine, mashallah. And therefore some of the scholars would say that we have the Adsam, we have the bodies of Cape Townians, and we have the blood of the Madanis, and we have the ruh of the Palestinians, inshallah. May Allah grant us understanding. Ameen. La ilaha illallah. And of course, Sheikh Ibrahim will be joining us and Mawlana Abdul Khalik and other of the ulama. And we say ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum to our sister and their congregation. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them in their efforts and coming from Palestine and bringing us the news about our brothers and our sisters in Palestine. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant that our sisters and brothers that are in Palestine be one of those that will be using the kalimat la ilaha illallah until the end of time, inshallah. Ameen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them a victory outwardly and a victory inwardly for the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We ask Maulana Ibrahim Musa to continue the introduction, inshallah. فليتفضل مشكور.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Honorable congregation, Jamaatul Muslimin, respected ulama, Sheikh Shaheed, Imam, and the rest of our brothers, elders, youth, sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is kind of with a sense of awe that I stand before you this evening, particularly because of the history that I've been told about this particular masjid and the great Imam Abdullah Harun, who would not too long ago, a few decades ago, be standing here advocating for the oppressed in this country as well as the oppressed all over the world. And if I look back at the timeline, Imam Abdullah Harun, as the story has now been, refreshed in our memories by the reopened inquest, we found that Imam Abdullah Harun was captured on the 28th of May in 1969. And as he began that 123 days of torture and incarceration and enforced disappearance, we are reminded that in this period he fasted continuously. He fasted continuously right until the time he was martyred. And this reminds us of the sacrifices of so many of our Palestinian brothers who have also fought this battle with their empty stomachs over recent times. And in actual fact, in 1970, just the year after Imam Abdullah Harun had passed away, Imam Abdullah Harun passed away in 1969 in the month of September. But in 1970, we saw the first mass hunger strike by Palestinian prisoners. And in 1976, we saw another big hunger strike by Palestinian prisoners. And in this period where Imam Abdullah Harun was in apartheid detention, in the final month of his life, basically, on the 21st of August, 1969, when Imam Abdullah Harun was in this critical phase of his life, we also had the arson attack by Dennis Michael Rohan, the Australian Zionist, on Masjid al-Aqsa. And I'm highlighting this to show the shared struggle. And while Imam Abdullah Harun was fighting one form of injustice and he had the global view of injustice, we also had the Palestinian struggle and the threats to Masjid al-Aqsa escalating after the Naksa of 1967. And therefore, while we work towards, and there isn't closure yet in the case of Imam Abdullah Harun, we also reflect on the fact that while we have gained freedom, there are still 4,900 at least Palestinian political prisoners today who are still fighting for freedom, and people are still fighting with their empty stomachs to be able to gain dignity. And this is a point that we reflect on today. We also reflect on, in this particular period, the occasion or the events that are playing themselves out in the occupied Gaza Strip. And one article recently highlighted how Palestinians in the Gaza Strip have to be absolutely ready for death at any moment, given the uncertainty and given the fact that bombs could fall and a new campaign could be launched, a new onslaught could be launched at the Gaza Strip at any time. So what they do is they keep a bag full of essential documents, full of valuables that one knows where it stays and one would be able to grab at an instant and run away. If one has to relocate in an instant when perhaps there's a knock on the roof, or perhaps when there is imminent threat of Israeli bombing of a home or a neighborhood, grab that bag and run away. And it's also mentioned that the sisters wear a particular form of garment that covers the head and covers the body when they go to sleep in these very difficult times, because they do not want to, and this is the feeling, the sentiment that they've expressed, that if Allah forbid we were to die at this instant, if Allah forbid we were to flee from our homes at this instant, at least we would be fully covered and our dignity will be preserved. And the hadith of the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam comes to mind, where Sayyidatina Maymuna radiallahu anha asked the Nabi of Allah, very famous hadith that the ulama would have recounted to you many a time, aftina fi Bayt al-Maqdis. Oh, the Nabi of Allah, tell us, give us the fatwa about Bayt al-Maqdis. And the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, hiya ardul mahshari wal manshar. This is the place of gathering and resurrection for the day of Qiyamah. And the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam instructs us to go and perform salah. But Sayyidatina Maymuna radiallahu anha asked the Nabi of Allah, أَرَأَيْتَ إِلَّمْ أَسْتَطِعْ أَنْ أَتَحَمَّلَ عَلَيْهِ. What if we cannot go to Bayt al-Maqdis? So the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, فَلْتُهْدِي لَهُ زَيْتًا يُسْرَجُ فِيهِ. So then give it a gift of olive oil to be able to light the lamps of Masjid al-Aqsa. Now we all have some understanding of what it is to light the lamps of Masjid al-Aqsa, donate, assist the people from outside. But I recall one of the Palestinians saying that, for you on the outside, you would be lighting lamps, you would be donating, you would be contributing to charities, you would be visiting Masjid al-Aqsa. But our way of lighting the lamps of Masjid al-Aqsa is by giving our lives for this cause. And this is what is happening in Gaza. This is even more so what is happening with the people of Jerusalem, the people of Bayt al-Maqdis, those who are surrounding Masjid al-Aqsa, who are at the beck and call of Masjid al-Aqsa at every moment. In the darkness of the night, in the light of the day, in the early portions of the morning, whenever a threat is arised, they are there as the murabitin and the murabitat, those who are in the forefront of defending Masjid al-Aqsa. And more than anything else, what we are going to listen to from our sister Abir this evening is what the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about a group of this ummah. So there's many news that she's going to convey, and this is a tour that has been organized by Salaam Media. Salaam Media is a platform based in Johannesburg, broadcasting throughout South Africa and internationally. And their purpose is humanitarian journalism, which is to tell the stories of human beings and their challenges around the world, but also tell you how to respond and how to assist people in these particular such situations. So this is the second time they are bringing Sister Abir to South Africa. Sister Abir is an educational tour guide. She's taught at the Department of Archaeology at the Al-Quds University. She's an archaeologist. She served at various museums, and she conducts free tours of Masjid al-Aqsa, and also is intensely involved in charitable and welfare activities for the women and the children of Al-Quds. And the purpose of this particular visit is social, political, and humanitarian conditions of the inhabitants of Jerusalem, to highlight that historical awareness of Jerusalem and Masjid al-Aqsa. Many South Africans, alhamdulillah, are going to visit Masjid al-Aqsa. How do we improve on these visits? How do we ensure that we get the most out of these visits? How do we develop camaraderie with the people of Jerusalem, and how to dispense of our funds when we visit Jerusalem? So those are the key objectives. But as I said, I want to conclude with this, where the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, about a group of this ummah, لا تزال طائفة من أمتي, that there will always be a group of this ummah على الحق ظاهرين بعدوهم قاهرين, that they will be, manifesting the truth and will be steadfast against their enemy. لا يضرهم من خذلهم حتى يأتي أمر الله. People can betray them. Different countries and different deals will betray them, but they will not be affected by this betrayal until the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes. قالوا أين هم يا رسول الله? O Nabi of Allah, where are they? And the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, في البيت المقدس وأكناف بيت المقدس. They are in Masjid al-Aqsa and around Masjid al-Aqsa. And I say without hesitation today, as I present to you Sister Abir, she is one of these people who are carrying the weight of Masjid al-Aqsa on her shoulders on behalf of the entire Ummah. I invite you to be able to listen to a very important message and interact with her as well. Barakallahu fiqh.
Assalamu alaikum. As they say, my name is Abir Zayyad. I'm archaeologist. I grew up in Al-Aqsa Mosque, and I'm the head of the Islamic Heritage Department in Al-Aqsa. Some of your faces, I had been seeing them before, like my brother there in Al-Aqsa Mosque, and some of the people that I seen them before in South Africa here. I'm sorry that this time that Maulana Ihsan, rahimahullah, that he's not with us. Last time he was in Cape Town, he was with us when we came and we do the tour last time. Rahmatullahi alayh. Al-Aqsa Mosque now is need each one of us. The situation in Al-Aqsa in each moment is different. And sometimes we need emergency action from Muslims in all over the world. Nowadays, as you see what is happening in Gaza and how they are bombing, one of the things that Jihad al-Islami asked is about to stop these things that is going on. One of the condition was stop the flag marshal in Jerusalem. Maybe some of you did not understand what the meaning of that and what is the flag marshal in Jerusalem. Each year since the 70s, Israel starts saying that in the 70s that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel and that they united East and West Jerusalem in one Jerusalem. And since that day, they are celebrating that day that they decided in Knesset in a martial flag that they enter inside the Muslim quarter with the flags, and they attacked any Palestinian person that they seen him in the street. So since we was children, we was in this terrified day, and we was attacked many and many times in that day. In the last few days, because of the corona and because of also the problem of rockets, the flags marshal was not happened. So this year, they are planning to do a big one and to enter to the Muslim quarter. But this is not enough for them. This time, they are asking to enter with the flags, marshal inside Al-Aqsa Mosque from Al-Isbat Gate and to go through all the mosque. This is why Al-Jihad al-Islami put one of the conditions not to do the marshal. Of course, Israel from the beginning, as even some of the Israel journalists, from the beginning of bombing Gaza, their plan was to bomb Gaza and after that to make a peace agreement that there is no shooting so they can do the marshal without any affair. So our political party, they are aware of this. So they put it as one of condition. So we does not know what happened. We does not want to see more blood from Gaza people. We does not want to see also more blood in the West Bank or in Jerusalem. Because also we have martyrs in the West Bank. Today they killed in Balata camp another 2 Palestinians. And also in Jerusalem there is more than one was injured in the last few days. So we does not like to see anyone blood anymore. But even that, the priority is one thing, Al-Aqsa Mosque. So we need all the Muslims to stand and not to allow for this marshal to happen. Why is so important not to allow it for happen? Because Israel already had put another plans for the mosque. And if this one pass, the other plans will pass. So what the other plans that the temple Zionist group are asking for it? They have two plans. One plan is say that they want to make a synagogue where they enter from the Moroccan gate. All this western part from the mosque, where's the museum and the library, all that part from the mosque, they want to take it completely and to build a synagogue there as a beginning of controlling the whole Aqsa to build the temple. Another group, they asking for more. They want to take Bab al-Rahma, and again they start after Ramadan attacking Bab al-Rahma again, and they want to enter from Bab al-Rahma and to make a bridge, and from the bridge they go over where the Dome of the Rock area to take the Dome of the Rock and all that platform next to it, and to make Al-Aqsa Mosque separated between divided, a chair for us and a chair for them, that where the Dome of the Rock and around it, it will be for Zionists, and the lower part, it will be for us. And if they have holiday, that the whole building, the whole compound, it will be for them in the holiday day. And if it's our holiday, it will be for us. But if the two holidays was in the same time, of course, the priority is for them. So this is the plan that they wanted. You can imagine. And of course, the last plan is to demolish the whole mosque and to build the temple. So the marshal this time is like a key. If we let it go on, you need to understand that the other plans will start. So we need to protect Al-Aqsa Mosque, and this march, it will be in 8th of this month. So we need to stand, we need to protest, we need to refuse something like that to happen. Al-Aqsa Mosque is part from our Aqidah. It's not just something that, or a normal mosque. It's part from our Aqidah as a Muslim. It's our first Qibla. Is our the land of Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj. Is the place where when you are there, any place you are standing in place of one of the Prophet. Each step you are doing inside the mosque, you are moving from one Prophet place to another Prophet place. It's something that you can't find it in any other place in the whole world. Al-Aqsa Mosque is connected with each Muslim, and each Muslim have responsibility for that place. So we need all of you to stand for that. And all of you not to forget that. I know that there is a lot of question about Al-Aqsa Mosque, a lot of information to say it about Al-Aqsa Mosque. Sometimes it's very hard to tell it. And the best way is to understand what is going on there is to come to Al-Aqsa Mosque and to have a tour there, to go to visit the families, to sit with the family, to enter to their homes. And you will understand the real life, the real situation, the real struggle that we are facing there. You can't imagine that some of the children, when you be in the mosque, ask the children how many times you've been in jail. Does not ask them if you've been in jail, how many times you've been in jail for each child. Because children in Jerusalem go to jail sometime from ages 5 and 6 years old. The life in Jerusalem is completely different and is not easy. And the Israeli make it harder and harder and harder each time. Each one of us, especially the worker in Al-Aqsa Mosque, have at least been shot once or arrested once or beaten once, at least. So none of us is someone that he did not have experience like that. For me, myself, I've been arrested many times. I can't count how many times they arrested me. I stopped count since 2015. I stopped counting how many times they arrested me. Shooting, also I had been shot more than one time. I can tell you that from my head till my toe, I have injured. So even that did not stop me from being in the mosque every day. And I'm happy to be in the mosque every day. And I can't imagine my life without Al-Aqsa Mosque. And most of Jerusalem people also can't imagine their life without Al-Aqsa Mosque. Al-Aqsa Mosque is our life itself, is more priority for us than ourselves or our children. This is how much the mosque is important for us. I remember one of the mom that she lost her child in 2017 when they killed her son in the protesting for Al-Aqsa Mosque. When they ask her what she want or what she want to say, immediately she say, protect Al-Aqsa Mosque. This is what she asked for it in that moment that she know that they killed her son. Protect Al-Aqsa Mosque. This was her asking. So you need to understand that we as a Palestinian, as a Jerusalemite, we are willing to give our life for Al-Aqsa Mosque. But sometimes we feel that our life is not enough. We need your support with our life to be able to protect the mosque. As Maulana Ibrahim had said, that Jerusalemite people, any moment they hear that Al-Aqsa Mosque is in danger, they will not wait. I remember once at 2 a.m., we hear the adhan. We in Jerusalem understand if we hear the adhan and it's not the time of the pray, that Al-Aqsa Mosque in danger. Of course, normally if Al-Aqsa Mosque in danger, you're supposed to say instead of Hayya ala salah, Hayya ala al-jihad. But in that time, we did not hear Hayya ala al-jihad. But even that, people from all over Jerusalem that they was able to hear the adhan. None of them wait for a car or a bus or anything. None of them wait to change his sleeping clothes. All of them go immediately to Al-Aqsa Mosque. From Ras Al Amud, from Silwan, from Tur, from everywhere around the old city, each house in the old city, all of them was in the street. Most of them did not put a shoe. All of them go to see what happened to Al-Aqsa Mosque. So this is the mentality of them. They did not wait to know. Immediately they go to Al-Aqsa Mosque. So this is how Jerusalem are will to protect the mosque. But again, does not left us behind the lines and does not left us alone with Al-Aqsa Mosque. We need each Muslim to stand with us and to help and to make his duty for Al-Aqsa. I will try my best now to, if you have any question, to answer your question. And I hope to see each one of you in the Al-Aqsa Mosque very soon, inshallah.
And their life is i'tikaf, to spend as much time in the masjid, regardless of the circumstances and situation. And they face that on a daily basis. So if you want to know anything personally, I think those who have gone for i'tikaf this year and the years before have experienced, although the Marwani masjid is isolated to some extent from where the attacks normally happen, because they know most of the South Africans and other foreigners make their i'tikaf in the Marwani masjid. But they can witness and see what actually happens there every day. And of course, there are other tours that are being organized, particularly for students. We're in discussion with also IPSA and other students to go, may not necessarily in the month of Ramadan, but other times of the year, to go experience Masjid al-Aqsa. And of course, to meet with the Ahl Ribat, the families of Bayt al-Maqdis, known as the Maqdisiyin, the Jerusalemites. Jerusalemites are the people that live, and Sister Abir has mentioned before also the economic conditions in Jerusalem itself. If you compare that to Gaza, she said a falafel sandwich you can pay 2 shekels. You go to the West Bank, you pay 5. But if you come to Jerusalem, you will pay 15. So they're making life so difficult and so exorbitant to try and increase all the fees and rates and municipal fees, whatever they have to pay, to try and remove them from Jerusalem. And they've been offered millions and millions by the Zionists to buy out their homes. So the issue is what the saying goes, it is not about the ard wa hudud, it's not the land and the borders. It's about aqidah wa hujud, It's about our belief that is threatened and the very existence of Islam that is being threatened in the city of Jerusalem. And the people that represent us in the Ummah is the Ahlul Ribat, the families of Jerusalem that is there every single day facing those challenges on our behalf. Please ask any question you'd like. I would like to encourage you and also to encourage our young people. There are regular groups that go over, and it's coming at a very, the brothers that are arranging it are not making any money on it. They arrange the accommodation, the trip. You only pay what is required for the trip. And the families on that side will receive you, and they will meet with you, and they will make it as cost effective. The main purpose is what they are saying. Please come to Jerusalem. Please come visit Masjid al-Aqsa. That's more important. Not only to send money and help, but your physical presence, because a person in Palestine, some of them have not visited Masjid al-Aqsa in their lifetime yet. Can you imagine that? People that are denied to be able to travel to Masjid al-Aqsa. So this is the challenge they face. We'll start off with the first question, inshallah, with Imam Saleh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So in the social media, we find a lot of prominent people. They make utterances in support of Palestine. I listened to Minister Naledi Pando saying, we support the struggle of the Palestinians, and then also the grandson of Nelson Mandela. If you had a conversation now with Cyril Ramaphosa and many other world leaders, and we are 75 years in a struggle, what would be the message to those leaders?
The first message, it will be stop double standard. If we see what is going on now in the world and how people are in the whole world acting with the situation in Ukraine, you can understand the double standard that we are living in. We deserve to live in humanity. We deserve to live free. We deserve to kick this occupation out from our country. We deserve to stop this apartheid system that is still existing in Palestine. We know that South African, especially Nelson Mandela, had said that there is no freedom for South Africa without the freedom of Palestine. He was understanding that even now, you see that the Zionists having a big movement inside South Africa, trying to change the mentality of the people, to make them think that there is no apartheid, there is nothing, and they make them have special trips to Palestine to show that there is no apartheid, like if exactly what the apartheid system was doing in South Africa in old time, when bringing Europe in a specific trip, and they take them to specific places and say, oh, there is no apartheid, the same. So the world have this double standard, and we are paying the crimes of Israel all the time. We know that Jewish had faced a difficult time in Europe, but we was not the one who go make them have this difficult time. It was the European. And if anyone's supposed to pay the price for what happened to Jewish, it's supposed to be Europe, not us. We never been bad to any religion at all. We as a Palestinian, we are from different religions. Muslims, Christian, Druze, Jewish, all the other religions that we have in Palestine, and we live in harmony for thousands of years. We deserve to live back in harmony in our country, and to kick out this Zionist movement, this colonialism movement, this apartheid from our country. So the main message is stop the double standard. We have one question from the Facebook. The best way is to help in Jerusalem is to work directly with charities in Jerusalem. We know that a lot of you try to help, try to send, try to do things inside Jerusalem, but sometimes the things does not arrive to Jerusalem at all. So try to work with a direct organization in Jerusalem. I think here in South Africa, there is a lot of good organization can have a direct relationship with the Palestinian organization inside Palestine, inside Jerusalem mainly. And to make sure that you are working with the correct organization, you need to ask for two things: that the office is in Jerusalem and that they have a Palestinian permission as a charity. Otherwise, does not work with them. So there is many ways, and I think Salaam Media, Al-Quds Foundation, other organization in South Africa, they are very good, and I think they can have the correct direct relationship with organization, charities inside Jerusalem. Other questions? Yes, please.
What can be done to support the Palestinians to stop the march that you were referring to?
The first thing is to protest. As much as you can protest in social media, in the street, protest as much as you can. Make the Zionists understand that if they enter in Al-Aqsa Mosque, that it will not be accepted and that it will be a huge difficulty on them. Boycott everything for supporting Zionists. Everything supposed to support Zionists, you need to boycott. You need to make them understand that what they are doing is not going like that they will pay the price. At least protesting, right, speak about your refusing for that. Other questions? Yes.
What is the situation with the normal school-going children as far as their education goes?
We have more than one system for education in Jerusalem. Jerusalem is different than the West Bank. That the West Bank and Gaza, the schools are controlled by Palestinian completely. Jerusalem, we have more than one body for schools. We have the Palestinian schools, which run by Palestinian Authority. They are good, but few. We have the Islamic school, which is also very few, but good. We have the Christian school, which also few, expensive, but also is very good. And anyway, just for your knowledge, that our Christian school teaching Islamic religion inside the church. So the third and the biggest group of schools is owned by the Israeli municipality. So when they occupied us in 1967, we go in a huge strike for refusing their books. And we insist that we study our books. We have also almost for 6 months, we did not go to school in 1967. So now Israel started playing a new thing. They make the school that are teaching the Palestinian books, but they make it very weak. They are very bad in teaching. And they start building a fancy buildings with all the facilities, and they make it for Israel program. So you can choose. You can put your children in this crazy schools, which they will not learn anything, or you take them to this fancy school, which at the end, they will wash the brain of your child. So a lot of poor family that they can't afford, they send their children because they does not have a choice. So at the end, 50% of us in Jerusalem does not finish the high school. The percentage in the rest of Palestine is 90% almost. In Gaza and West Bank, they finish the high school. So it's a huge difference. So Israel now is doing these fancy schools to wash the brain of the children, to make them with the different mentality, because especially after 2017, they discovered that what is protecting Al-Aqsa Mosque really, that even Haaretz today, they write about that they use the drugs against us. They do use violence. They use arresting. They use demolishing houses. They use to make us poor. Nothing succeeds with us. Even the drug addicted, when something happened to the mosque, you will find them in the first line. So it did not work. So what it's work is to change the mentality, to change the belief from inside. So they start with these schools. This is why it's so important to keep the Palestinian charity inside Jerusalem running, because the Palestinian charity, they can keep the identity of the families as a Palestinian, as a Muslim. And Israel does not want that. So they start cutting the fund by, of course, putting a pressure on Europe to cut the fund from the charities in Palestinian places in Jerusalem, so they will close. Now we have maybe 15 or 12 Palestinian charities that are just in Jerusalem. So we need these charity to continue working, otherwise we will lose. So this is why also it's important, because you know, as a Muslim, the only way that we support all the time is zakah and sadaqah, and we give it just for humanity help. We does not think about how we can keep the children, how we can develop the children, how we can keep the mentality. So this is another challenge for us as a Muslim to understand that we suppose also not just to give sadaqah and zakah, we suppose also to work on programs to keep these people in the system of protecting Al-Aqsa Mosque. One of the category of zakah is fi sabilillah. And Maulana Ibrahim, he just said that Palestinian people, especially Jerusalem, are in jihad all their life. So think, or try to think in a different way, how we can protect Al-Aqsa Mosque, inshallah.
Barakatuh. Sister, there's two issues came through on the social media page. One being a comment and the other a question. The comment, it says from Sister Nazima, the Palestinian resistant organizations must write to the African National Congress and demand that South African government close the apartheid embassy. So that was a comment that came through, and a question that also from the Twitter page, asking if there's any proof that a temple existed previously in the place where the Zionists wants to take over.
Let's speak from archaeological point of view here, okay? As an archaeologist, I can tell you that Israel had a try, even before the British, tried to dig underneath of a mosque and around it. Since the first excavation started in Jerusalem, it was 1845, so very old time. And they, from that time till today, try to find any archaeological evidence, not only for the temple, is for the existing of Judaism before 3,000 years in Palestine. Till today, they was not able to find any archaeological evidence at all, not only for the temple. The oldest archaeological remain in the place of Al-Aqsa Mosque is going back to Roman time, especially to a king. His name is Herod. He's a Palestinian king from the Edomian tribe. He was forced when he was a child to become a Jew. And you know, as a Judaism religion, if your mom is not a Jew, you are not a Jew. So that king, he built in all Palestine, not only in Jerusalem, buildings to serve all religion that was in Palestine, and Judaism was part from that religion in Palestine. But to say that there is archaeological evidence for the temple and that Judaism exists in Palestine before 3,000 years ago, there is nothing. And this is not what I'm saying alone. Even a lot of Israel archaeologists, even the president of the archaeological department of Tel Aviv University, he's saying the same. First of all, we does not use the term them, because we are one. We as a Palestinian, we never think about if you are Muslim or Christian, because all the time we are one, to protect the mosque or to protect the churches. A lot of, yeah, we are Palestinian. So even if you was in Jerusalem, you can't know when you speak with any person if he's a Muslim or a Christian. It's not easy. Okay, just for you understand that the Zionist does not want us or the Christian. Even Smartish, the one of the Israel municipality ministers, he say that they suppose he put in the Knesset a law that he still want to vote on it, not to allow for a Christian to speak about their religion in Palestine. And during the last few years, there was a lot of attack for churches. The last one was before Ramadan for one of the most important churches. It's the first station in Jerusalem. And the one who protect the churches all the time was Muslims, guys. So we are one. There is also some Christians are in jail because of protecting Al-Aqsa Mosque. We have martyrs from the Christian, we have martyrs from the Muslims. So it's an occupation apartheid against anyone who are not Zionist. Yes, they are stopping and interfering in each aspect that we are doing inside the mosque. So this is why sometimes some people say that it's much better to support the people who protect the mosque, because they are the one who are making the movement. But of course, you can donate all the time for Al-Aqsa Mosque. So when they need anything, they can find the fund to do it. The correct way to give a donation for Al-Aqsa Mosque is to do it. You have boxes, big boxes inside, two only in the mosque, one in the Dome of the Rock and one in the Qibli. Or you can go to the offices, which is around the Dome of the Rock, and take receipt. And the receipt is supposed to be from Waqf department, not from any other charity. You have a lot of charity in Jerusalem. Some of them have offices inside the Al-Aqsa Mosque. But for Al-Aqsa itself, the donation is supposed to be from Waqf department. So the receipt is supposed to be written on it, Waqf department, okay? And to make it for restoration. So they can use the money for that. But of course, Israel is making difficult each time for us for renovating the place. Even sometimes for changing one tube in the mosque, at least 6 or 7 workers from us are arrested to fix it. And some of our workers had already in last Ramadan, for example, lost their eyes while they was trying to protect the mosque.
Palestinian system of school, is their progression into university level? And if they do qualify as a professional, how do they acquire work?
First of all, we say that 50% of us does not finish the high school. After that, the 50% they need to go to university. We used to go to the Palestinian university. So now Israel punish each one who go to Israel to Palestinian university not to give him a job. So they try to force us more and more to go to the Israeli university. This is one issue. The second issue, that even if you was a study in an Israeli university, if you was done anything that they consider against them, like for being protecting the mosque or arrested, or you will be abandoned from working in any Israel organized system. So for me, for example, I'm abandoned from working in any Israel place. Also, my husband is abandoned from working in any Israel place. So even that we are having a high education, but it's not allowed. Okay, so it's something you need to pay the price if you speak. But again, as much as the price is high, there is something more important for us. Other questions? Okay, جزاكم الله خيرا for your listening. Hoping to see all of you inshallah in the Masjid al-Aqsa. And inshallah very soon, we hope that maybe in our life we will have the prayer of Tahrir in the Masjid al-Aqsa. Amin, inshallah.
Bismillah wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. May what we have heard benefit us, inshallah, amin, and benefit others. Part of the sunnah of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says that you should inform those who are absent when you hear something new. That's part of the sunnah. What's the hadith? بلغوا الشاهد يبلغ الغائب. What's the hadith? Or كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم, the one that was present should inform those that were absent. And alhamdulillah, we have social media, but there are some that do not have social media. And share it with your family, and share the concerns with your family, and share the concerns with your children. And that is another holy site that was given the holiness by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and confirmed by the mouth of Sayyidina Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we have to have it dear to our hearts, and salah in it is noble, walking in it is noble, praying in it is noble, in its surroundings is noble, and being there is noble. The Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam surround these areas. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the true love for Palestine and the house of Allah and the Haram al-Sharif, the Masjid al-Aqsa, and the Qibli Masjid, and all the masjid that surrounds these holy sites. We're going to ask our Honorable Sheikh Ibrahim to conclude the session here this evening. And of course, Sheikh Ibrahim requires definitely no introduction, but out of adab towards our Honorable Sheikh, we know that our Sheikh is someone that has not only a passion, but a sincere, complete passion for the Haram al-Sharif of Masjid al-Aqsa, as well as the people of Palestine. And Sheikh is one that is not only leading us in hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will very soon, inshallah, grant that freedom and peace and success and contentment to our brothers and sisters in Palestine. And through the blessings of our Honorable Mashayikh, Sheikh Shaheed, Mawlana Abdul Khalik, and our Honorable Sheikh Ibrahim, and amongst many other of the scholars and the Mashayikh that keeps it dear to their heart, may we always be inspired by them, knowing that these holy sites are indeed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has elevated before Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. So without any further delay, we ask our Honorable Sheikh Ibrahim to share a few words, inshallah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وإمام المتقين سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. To our Honorable Imam of the Masjid Mullah Tilawar, Sheikh Shaheed, Brother Nazim, all our respected Hufad, our mothers, our fathers, sisters and brothers, and our special guest, Sister Abir, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm always very emotional when I come to this masjid, because one of the people that presented Muslims in this part of the world against the apartheid state of South Africa is Imam Abdullah Harun al-Shaheed. He stood up for the truth, and may Allah grant him the highest ranks in Jannah. And when we had the Palestinian program here on a Thursday night, I said that if Imam Abdullah Harun had to be alive, he would have attended the Palestinian program every Thursday night because of his commitment to Masjid al-Aqsa and the people of Palestine. So on behalf of all of us, we once again want to say Alfu Shukr to our sister Abir for honoring us here in Cape Town. Cape Town is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. But with you coming here, Allah has increased it in nur and beauty, alhamdulillah. And we're so happy to hear all these important information about Al-Quds. And I even didn't know that young people, when they go to Palestinian universities, they can forget about the job. And even if they go to Israeli universities, if they don't have a clean record according to them, they also wouldn't find a job. So difficult, so difficult. I don't want to be too long. I just want to say that my assessment of the Muslims of the world is one of the reasons that Muslims are not so committed to Masjid al-Aqsa, because maybe they don't realize how dear Masjid al-Aqsa is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We know how dear the Haram of Makkah is to Allah. We know how dear Masjid Nabawi is to Allah. But maybe Muslims around the world don't realize how dear Masjid al-Aqsa is to Allah. Masjid al-Aqsa is so dear to Allah that Allah has decreed that the only place in the world where 124,000 Anbiya were gathered is in Masjid al-Aqsa. Masjid al-Aqsa is so dear to Allah that Allah is the one that has taken our beloved Nabi Muhammad ﷺ. Before Rasulullah went for the Mi'raj, Allah decided that the Rasulullah must first come min al-Masjid al-Haram ila al-Masjid al-Aqsa. Masjid al-Aqsa and the city of Al-Quds is so dear to Allah, it is unbelievable. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant that we that are here tonight and those listening to us, that we are going to work hard, that the Muslims of the world must wake up when Masjid al-Aqsa is concerned. I was very fortunate in September, October, I was in Makkah and Medina, and I saw the amount of people, and I made dua, may Allah grant that these great amounts of Muslims must one day go to Masjid al-Aqsa. And I even made a video to show the hundreds of thousands of Muslims. Now just imagine these amounts of Muslims go to Masjid al-Aqsa. I was last year in a conference in Malaysia, and there were 3 of the Imams of Masjid al-Aqsa attended the conference. And who were present? The International Muslim Scholars Association of Ulama. This is one of the most representative bodies in the world of ulama. The head and the founder of this great body of ulama was the great Dr. Yusuf Qardawi rahmatullah alayh. And we know his commitment to Masjid al-Aqsa, Allahu Akbar. And so the 3 Imams, and this is important information, the 3 Imams of Masjid al-Aqsa said to the ulama, we want you to change the fatwa. The fatwa for all the years is that Muslims shouldn't go to Masjid al-Aqsa. And we could understand at that time, Muslims were angry and we don't want to support the state of Israel, the apartheid state of Israel. So they didn't want Muslims to go there. But the Imams of Masjid al-Aqsa said, but now, it doesn't benefit the Muslims. It benefits the Israelis more if the Muslim world don't come to Masjid al-Aqsa. And now, just this week, I was in a conference in Qatar, and I met the Secretary General, a great alim, Sheikh Ali Kardaghi. What a great scholar of Islam, Allahu Akbar. He is the main man of the United Ulama, the International Muslim Scholars. And I reminded him, and he said, Sheikh, inshallah, we're going to work on it. Dr. Yusuf Qardawi was one of those people that gave the fatwa. And we didn't want to disrespect him while he was still alive. Allah is now wafat dunya. Now it's going to be much easier for us to work on this fatwa. So make dua that Allah must grant that the ulama must give a different fatwa. Wallahi, it's going to mean so much. In fact, the Imams of Masjid al-Aqsa said to the ulama in Malaysia, we just came from, they said we just came from an orphanage, and the president of the orphanage said, please, if you go to Malaysia, please tell the ulama, we here in Al-Quds in Jerusalem, we don't want their money. We want the Muslims to come to Quds and to Masjid al-Aqsa. And I'm asking again to this audience here tonight, that we must start to promote, not only in Cape Town, but internationally, that Muslims must now start to go to Masjid al-Aqsa. And I want to add, Ala inna nasrallahi qareeb. The victory from Allah is near. Wallah, it is near. It's getting closer and closer. So once again, we say shukran to Sister Abir for honoring us here tonight. May Allah protect her. May Allah protect the people of Al-Quds and make special dua for the people of Gaza. The people of Gaza, wallah, everybody is connected to Masjid al-Aqsa. You know, they are doing this because of Masjid al-Aqsa. They're not worried about themselves. They don't worry that the bombs are falling. It is about wallahi, it's about the protection of Masjid al-Aqsa. That is the life of each and every Palestinian. So make dua for the people of the Gaza. Allah must make it easy for them. And one day, all of them and all of us will be able to make salah in a free Masjid al-Aqsa. We once again want to thank Salaam Media, Ustaz Maulana Sheikh Muntaha, Brother Ponti, and the whole of Salaam Media to be here, and Ustaz Hafiz Ibrahim Musa, and so many others, and Maulana Tilawar, Dr. Nazim, and the people of Stichman Road, and everybody that was attending tonight. May Allah bless and reward you. And once again, we make the dua, Allah marzuqna salatan fil Masjid Aqsa wa huwa hurrun aziz. May Allah grant us to make salah in Masjid Aqsa while it's going to be free. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Once again, Jazakumullah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yeah, I forgot the important announcement. Monday is a big march. It's Nakba Day, the day of the catastrophe, 75 years. So we are appealing to everybody, not that you all must be there, that you must motivate your family, your neighbors, your friends to be there. We hope it's going to be one of the biggest marches ever in Cape Town, inshallah, on Monday. It's going to start from 10 o'clock from Manova Street, and we're walking to Parliament, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. Shukran.
Bismillah wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Just before we conclude, we would like to, of course, on behalf of our chairman, Uncle Nazim, Jamie, as well as Uncle Riza, and the extended committee, and the executive, and the community of Stichman Road, we would like to thank the Jameah for attending here this evening. Also, we would like to thank our very own Puta Yunus, mashallah, always actively involved. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him for his commitment, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant that through his commitment be raised in the darajat. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. We'd like to honor and say Jazakallah khair to our mashayikh and to our sisters, and from those from Palestine, our brothers from Johannesburg, and the cameraman, and as well as the sound audios and the media, and everyone else. And we pray to Allah, Allah take us to Aqsa, inshallah. Ameen. And we will ask one of the mashayikh to make dua. But just before we ask for dua, I was in Palestine a few years ago, and just very quickly, this is very random, but who was in Palestine in the masjid? Raise your hands. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. May Allah take us again, inshallah. And for those that were in Palestine, can tell you what is Palestine all about. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam led salah for the Anbiya in Palestine. Led salah. Our honorable, very close and dear Ustad, and may Allah elevate him and grant him a high place in Jannah. Maulana Ihsan Hendricks rahmatullah alayh was very dear to our heart. And when I saw sister, I never knew it was her that was coming. I immediately thought of Maulana because I met her in Maulana's house. And she says to me that I was very small when I met her in Maulana's house. So, I don't know. Maybe I was wearing glasses. I seemed small that time. But Maulana mentioned beautifully to us, and he reminded, and Sheikh Ibrahim always reminds us, that Aqsa has how many thousand square meters? 130,000. Huh? And how many Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam were there? 124,000. And the 6,000 that was left in the space of those square meters was the Malaika. And the Imam was Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. You can just imagine what the ambience and the atmosphere and the aura is like when in every spot that you perform salah in, you are making not potentially, but guaranteed you are making salah in a when one of those that was selected by Allah to be close to Allah put down his head. So may Allah take us to Palestine, Amin. And may Allah allow us to experience that which Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam experienced when he left Palestine to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah grant us the true understanding of why Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had to go through Palestine and all this journey from Masjid al-Haram and al-Masjid al-Aqsa to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why that intermediate? Why that direction? Why that way? Where Allah could have taken him just directly to Allah from Haram of Makkah. But Allah had reasons for why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam via the blessed city of Masjid al-Haram and Masjid al-Aqsa. We ask Allah grant our hearts to be open to loving him Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and loving what he loved Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So once again we say Jazakallah khair to everyone and we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our mashayikh for their conviction and our bless our mashayikh and our ulama here in South Africa and Cape Town, our current. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow that they live for many years inshallah, Ameen. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue allowing us to benefit from them inshallah, as well as we ask one of the mashayikh to conclude.
I forgot when I entered. One of the people outside said that there was a white polo. Was it been seen too? Okay. Alhamdulillah. Oh, okay. It was half open. Okay. الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم إنا نسألك يا الله من خير ما في هذه الليلة فتحها ونصرها ونورها وبركتها وهداها، ونعوذ بك من شر ما فيها ومن شر ما بعدها يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا أمسينا منك في نعمة وعافية وستر، فأتمم نعمتك علينا وعافيتك وسترك في الدنيا والآخرة يا رب العالمين. اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكها، أنت خير من زكاها، أنت وليها ومولاها يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نسألك يا الله بأسمائك الحسنى وصفاتك العليا وباسمك الأعظم أن تحفظ المسجد الأقصى، وأن تنصر إخواننا في فلسطين وفي سوريا وفي كل مكان يا رب العالمين. اللهم ارزقنا صلاة في المسجد الأقصى وهو حر عزيز. اللهم ارزقنا صلاة في المسجد الأقصى وهو حر عزيز. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وأصحابه وبارك وسلم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.